Do I have to gavel the meeting to order or something? Is it time?
It is time.
Okay. We have a consensus and we have enough people and it is time when we're during the meeting, we have roll call.
Sarah, okay, Sarah's absent. Janice Baker. Cat Stone,
Here,
Jim DeLapp,
Here.
Mike Baker's not here yet.
Not here yet.
but he's coming.
Wait,
He should be.
Lonnie Rainville is absent, and then Tom Trotter.
I'm here.
Okay. So now we'll move on to the consent agenda.
Oh, pledge of
It has
allegiance.
Oh, there it is.
well, that will be. It's your meeting, if you want to have it, go ahead.
I do. It's on the
Okay.
agenda, yes. Okay.
Well, it's my meeting. And I said you could.
All right. Right. I'll lead. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So that is the consent agenda?
Yes.
Okey dokey. We have the regular meeting minutes and the preventive maintenance report.
Yes.
Are there any questions? Discussion? You have a motion?
I have motion that we approve the minutes as they're set.
The meeting minute?
Minutes of the meeting. Yes. And March, the 4/2 preventive maintenance report.
And we need a second.
Oh, second. Trying to understand what
Hard.
I said. I didn't know what's going on.
Okay,
He did a motion.
yeah. And then we have financial report.
But we have to vote.
Oh, do we have to vote to accept it?
Yes.
All right, everybody say aye.
Aye.
If you're brave enough, say no. Okay. So now we can move on? Okay. This is agenda item 5, the financial report.
Right now, we should be using about 75% of the budget. We're still doing really well this year. Income is at 53.89%. We're slightly under, so we're still just waiting on that Q2 reimbursements. Payroll overall is at 55%, so we're still doing good there. Material and services is at 65.57. If anybody has any questions on any of the variances, I'll be happy to go over them, but I think we've kind of discussed most of them.
Yeah, we seem to be on track pretty good, and there was going to be a breakout maybe this time, maybe insurance or medical benefits or something.
We did that a couple
Did we?
months ago, we did the insurance, all the fringe benefits and everything.
I thought there was something else we were gonna break out, but
I
we
had
have to make a
a couple questions.
Sure.
I think it's 100140 on the general fund resources. What's the CRRSAA grant?
The CRISA, it's CRISA, it's generally funding for like the COVID or emergency funding that they put out.
The CARES Act stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
There's also the 5311 CARES, but
yes, separate ones.
There's
Okay.
They
two
gave
separate
us like
ones.
4 different versions of CARES. There was, yeah,
well, what's the miscellaneous?
The miscellaneous under the income.
Yeah, for general fund resources.
So the miscellaneous is, any money like, we got some money from our insurance company when we had a couple of accidents on the vehicles.
Oh, yeah.
So that kind of helps offset, down below in 1-22.
Yeah, I noticed there's accidents.
Yeah, so it's money that we've received less the deductible. from
Okay.
insurance. And then also the rent that the people downstairs pay us every month goes in that category as well.
All right. Yeah, yeah. I think some of the other stuff's already been covered before, so.
Yeah. Hopefully, we go with the budget, hopefully we've kind of tweaked it enough now that for this next year. Some of those categories won't look so wonky.
Taking a while, they were really
Yeah,
more accurate like this, you know. So
Yeah.
you're having to spread them out.
Yeah.
Put them where they belong.
well, we have started, if you've noticed down under the payroll, well. If you notice in the payroll section under the medical transportation, we do finally have some money in there.
That was
we
the one,
are-
it was medical transportation.
So we are starting to break down some of the costs for
Okay,
the employee salaries, and then also down under the,
Medical.
yeah. Where am I? Under the materials and services, down in the 1-30 category. We've also been separating some of those vehicles and the cell phones and that kind of thing.
yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
think that was gonna happen for a couple of months,
We started it in March. We were able to,
and it's April,
yeah,
just the middle of April.
Yeah. so we were able to start doing some of that.
All right, great.
Got some of it dialed in, so.
So do we need a motion? To accept the,
Yeah, we need a motion. I'll make a motion to approve the financial report for March financial report 5.1, agenda item 5.1.
I'll second that.
and we'll have a vote. Does anybody want to say no? Okay, all approve, say aye.
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 Aye. All righty. Then where do we go? I don't see 6.
Public comment.
Okay. Are there any public comments?
I think Jennifer's the only public we have.
Okay,
She has a comment right
She made a comment.
oh,
She did indeed.
we can take typed comments as well.
COVID-related funding sources, 2020 to 2022. There's Carissa, ARP 5311 COVID. And we have another round of COVID coming this summer.
Wow.
Funding, COVID funding. not
Yes,
COVID.
I was hoping that's what you meant. I wasn't gonna mention it. So, we could go to old business, 7-1, budget committee bylaws review.
I'm gonna let you take that one.
Who?
The budget committee bylaws review.
Oh. Not much different than what it was last month.
Oh, so you just incorporated in the changes that were suggested previously?
We didn't do any.
Yeah, we didn't really do anything with it,
The
but
only thing that I did between last month and this month is I just changed the date. Today.
and I know when I read it last time, it was kind of in a hurry.
So.
And I
we
felt
tabled
like
it.
parts of it, yeah, we tabled it because I felt like it was kind of clunky. But I went over it this time and I couldn't find, for me, I couldn't find a acceptable change. It seemed like it was perfectly adequate and it isn't.
We're gonna use it once a year.
Yeah. I kind of wished I knew when they were actually meeting that, like, were they gonna meet quarterly, so they kind of keep up to date with stuff, because it only says they have to meet the last quarter.
It was
And-
written in a way that combined, so what I did is I read the LTDs. Bylaws in detail, and then I read the budget laws in details, and I, kind of formatted it in a way that we typically do our committee bylaws. But what I did is I kind of combined LTD's bylaws with the budget laws
Wow.
kind of thing, so I kind of did a hybrid.
Or
Just to make sure that,
Frankenstein.
that it was formatted the way that we typically, do our committee bylaws. And then some of the, verbiage that is in here is actually just from our other committee, bylaws that we currently already have. Or there's a part in here that's actually from the back of this agenda, so it's nothing that we don't already have in other documents.
Right.
So
It's not very specific and
No.
and because, you know, we don't seem to pay any attention to our budget committee except this time of year.
and it incorporated a lot of the
Is it that
financial,
way everywhere?
it incorporated a lot of the financial policy that was already approved at the beginning of last year. So it was just a hybrid of everything, just for there to be bylaws as requested.
I just
Yeah.
really felt like it should be better than what I had seen in that other government agency.
I mean, it was based on, because like I said, I read the LTD's bylaws. This is not exactly like the LTD bylaws because it's more of a hybrid from what they have with what our current policies are. So we have our current policies and it's in here. And then we have our current laws that we have to abide by, and they're in here as well.
No, as long as the
So-
laws are, we're good. So, anybody want to discuss it anymore?
No, that was pretty clear.
Yeah. And if it covers us, then that's good. And I don't have any more questions. So, does anybody want to make a motion to approve them?
I'll move to approve the budget committee bylaws.
I'll second that.
Okay, let's take a vote on it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay. And then we got the audit. Okay. No, I don't want to read it all, and I got 2 copies, so I can read it in stereo.
So this has been a long time coming. All of this data was provided to Umpqua Valley Financial within the appropriate time frame that it could have been done. If they had enough time and resources, it could have been done in time for us to file in time at the end of 2021. So we had provided everything to them prior to the end of 2021. And so it's taken this long. I guess it is a nationwide phenomena. There are just not enough auditors. So it's not unique to our area, which we didn't realize until we started looking into it, but
Well, we can go back with the one that everybody else pretty much uses around here. Harvard Avenue.
yeah.
This is, we're no longer using them for the financial stuff, so it's no longer a conflict, right?
Yeah, so what we would need to do is do an RFP. So they already have all of our information to do the 22-23 audit.
The 21,
21-22 audit. And she's been feeding them all the stuff for 22-23 also. So they've got everything up to probably February for this time frame as well. Because we have a Dropbox, we just continually drop everything into it so that they can get.
Do we check with them to make sure that they took it out of the Dropbox and that they're feeding it into the machine?
I am in constant contact with
Okay,
them.
good. That's all I want to know. I trust you. I don't trust
I
them.
am constantly at them. We're not, what's the status? Where are we? What do you need? Do you need anything more from us?
And part of it was just teaching them
Mhm.
how to do transit grants. At one point, they wanted to, and I believe this was in our previous audit, they wanted to have a finding because they felt that we were overcharging on our grants because they didn't think that they didn't understand the match piece.
Oh.
Yeah, and so they thought that we could only apply match to what we received in the federal funds, but the match is together, it creates the amount for the grant, for the total grant. So anyway, just
Okay.
teaching them how to handle the federal grants was interesting. Sherry did a bang up job. She was really happy to take that on.
Can we double how much we pay her?
No, we can't have it yet.
Would that mess
Not
up
if
your
we want to hire
retirement
all the
plan?
other people. in that. Yeah, that would be rough.
Alrighty,
Okay.
okay, so,
So all of our findings are the same findings that we had on our 2021 audit.
so we're not in trouble with the
Or
state,
2020.
we're not in trouble
No,
in any way,
no.
okay.
Are we gonna
We
update
have
some of
to.
our policies? It looks like there's some policies and corrections.
We
and-
already,
did.
we already have.
So that- okay.
This was, I came in right at the end of June, so this would have been for the year that
Before.
ended.
They
Okay.
So I tried to go back and do some coding and do some things to make their life a little easier, but it's still in the end, there was still a lot of stuff
Okay.
that they
They were challenged.
were challenged with, so. Hopefully moving forward, our
Our next
2020 will be much
Easier and
easier. and
faster.
And on
faster.
time. Yeah.
She did make mention that, you know, we've improved it a lot and that they appreciate it and that
That's what happens when you start out.
when you
so,
try to
yeah.
go, you know, I tried to go
surprising.
back and retroact some things but there was a lot of stuff that I can't decipher, like what the other accountant was doing, like I can.
I
only
can't
do so
imagine
much.
what the inside of your head looks like. That it has all
It
that
looks like a
stuff in
maze.
it, all that stuff and understands it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so can I have a motion to approve the UPTD fiscal year 2021 audit report?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the 2021 audit report.
Thank you, Tom. Can I get a second?
A second?
Okay, so we'll vote. Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Everybody doesn't approve. Speak. Okay. Moving along to the project next door, my favorite part.
Oh, no, not quite
I
yet.
can't go to project updates. yet.
8.2.
Oh, 8.2. Oh, yeah, the bus driver's starting wage.
Yes, so, just for context, the local school bus is hiring at $20 an hour. And our UPTD is hiring at $25 an hour and LTD is hiring at 23 something. Oh, I think I put it in.
2287.
Oh, 2287, yep. So, we haven't had a lot of attrition, but we've lost 2 drivers very recently. And part of that was due to not enough pay, not enough hours. And they were ones that were working more than 30 hours, but less than 40. It's just, we're not wanting to raise the top end of the range, just that starting pay, that $19 an hour, or 18.
And what
move
is
it
the
up to
top of our
19,
pay?
30.
Okay.
So
So
yeah, it still leaves.
if
plenty
it's
of-
$20 an hour for the school district, why did we choose 18 or 19?
Yeah.
It's 18, but going to want to go to 19.
Yeah.
My question would be, it- possibly, I don't know this for sure, the school district, they have split shifts, they don't have full days. So they are paying more to get somebody to do that.
Yeah, they
I
get
have
up
a
at John all
sister-in-law
hours
that
in the morning.
was a bus driver for years and
Yes.
their accountant says, you know, you're paying more for your babysitter than what you're getting, but that's another story.
Yeah.
So we have the benefits of more hours.
Years ago.
Yeah. Well, and the other piece of that is we do give them a bump at 90 days. If they make it through their first 90 days, they get a quarter. And then at 6 months, we give them another quarter. So they would be at 1950 by 6 months and then eligible for a merit increase 6 months later. Yeah. So that quick progression is really what's keeping people hanging on. Yeah. And
Did the 2 that
the,
leave go to the alternative here, local alternative?
no, the one went back to truck driving and the one went to MTR Western, which is that thing that we don't do. We
Yes, the
don't
the
do-
buses go to the coast, right?
Yeah. I want to say on consignment. And that's not charter.
Charter.
Charter bus, yes.
So MTR stands for,
I do not know.
it might not stand for anything, huh?
I don't know. Yeah, so, but they both, they pay higher than we do. So we thought we would be proactive, and I think the primary reason for choosing 19 instead of 20 is there is that difference between us and the school bus. And we are a lower income county than LTD or RVTD. But also just to ensure that we are gonna make our budget, you know, that we're gonna have another year like this year where we're within our budget. And so it was just part of that planning process. Those are the numbers that we put together and put into the budget were $19 an hour. Yeah.
And driving a bunch of kids around versus mostly adults.
Homeless adults. Homeless mentally ill.
So we haven't done colas yet, but would that put it into that category anyway, or is it just, it's still starting and then it's.
It's the starting
that's the
pay.
starting piece.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be, the proposal is just to, make a motion to raise the CDL starting pay to $19 an hour.
Okay, can I get a motion for that?
Oh,
Yeah, but-
and we need a date.
Okay, do you have a suggested date? July, sooner than
Sooner.
that, May,
Sooner than later, probably.
April, immediately? Yeah.
Maybe the next pay period.
Next pay period, yeah.
Okay.
Next paper.
So I'll move to adjust the starting wage for CDL drivers from $18 to $19 an hour, effective the next pay period. That's it.
You know, second,
Excellent, thank you. We'll
Thank
take a
you.
vote, everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Okay,
No name.
no nay, and now we get to my favorite part, the project update. The project next door, 9.1.
So I included in the cover page the response that I received from Jennifer regarding the allowable activities that we can pursue during the NEPA process. And so we are in the process of doing a lot of those at this moment. We initiated the title search and actually I received it back. And so that gives us all of the liens and right-of-way information. IE Engineering has been engaged
Just for
for
this side right here, right? We're talking about.
this.
Oh, for the new one,
Yeah, yeah.
for the new
Making
project.
sure.
new.
As I thought we were talking here
The
first
newest
and
new.
then, but it sounded like you're talking over here, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're really excited. They think that this is gonna be far better to have the more land to be able to work with, to get everything in that we want to be able to get in, having a separated electric bus structure from the regular bus structure, all of those other things that we had discussed. There is a company called PBS USA. We engaged them for wetlands delineation and they should be here within the next week or so. They said dependent on the weather, and we've had a bit of rain. So they'll be doing the wetlands delineation because there is one corner of the property where there's a creek that comes down, not necessarily a full-on creek, but a runoff. Yeah. Yeah, and then I did start the NEPA application, but of course, a lot of the information that I need will come from the site design and the wetlands.
It's actually cheaper to develop without all that rock and stuff.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And pretty much that grade.
Mhm.
Those two.
It'll be a lot better. I might not have a voice very much longer. There she goes. It is, today's the best I've had it for 4 days. So
any questions on that one, on the site development?
I do not.
Okay, on the next one, which is below no, we have continued to meet with Proterra. After we talked with the folks that do the wrap design for the new buses. We realized the price would be the same, whether we did the same wrap on all three buses, or if we did 3 different wraps on the 3 different buses. And so as a result, we had looked at wanting to do something similar to what we're gonna do with the demand response vehicles, with the picture that represents Douglas. Douglas County or the Umpqua Valley. I'm so sorry.
Take a drink.
We're gonna go Minnie Mouse here any second. So, the person that had been planning to send a bunch of waterfall pictures that we had been working with for the demand response vehicles, they just kind of dropped off the face of the earth. Like their website isn't up anymore, they're not answering their phone, they're not returning calls. So I, in a pinch hit kind of situation, started looking for different photographers around the area that we could possibly do sort of like a contest, but submit your ideas. And we've actually come up with a good selection to choose from. So there are 3 different selections we're going to make this week from I think there's 4 different photographers that have turned in information, and then there's another website that I had been looking at that was also a local photographer.
Where did you advertise?
I just put it on our webpage, I mean, on our Facebook page, and I only put it up for this last week because we don't have a lot of time. And we can't be deluged with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of choices because they're all good. They are. So,
That's the laws.
oh, yeah. I won't say that because we're in a public meeting and being recorded. Some of them were very interesting.
Oh, really?
It's interesting what people will submit as what they feel represents Douglas County.
Oh, yeah,
As
because
a
mine would be different than some people.
right, as opposed to what they have when you go to their website that has a portfolio on it. It's like, because I went to the website just because I was like, oh, this might be an interesting website, you know?
Curiosity.
Yeah, and they actually have fabulous pictures. So there are a whole bunch of them that are the hummingbirds that have been caught with their,
Yeah.
their wings are just out and, all that kind of stuff. So there's, one thought is that we could do a collage of hummingbirds all across. Another thought was eagles. There's a one that has owls, and they were adorable. And then there's there's one of Diamond Lake where you've got Mount Thielsen off in the distance.
The
With
triple B,
this-
what does it look like on a wrap on the bus?
Exactly.
So you can have some pretty cool pictures, but they may be so far zoomed out to get the picture that'll fit on the side.
Yeah, we don't.
So
go
you
to
may need to
Diamond
zoom
Lake.
in and just, take pieces of, if you had birds, you can have bigger birds and
Yeah.
things rather
Can
than just have a
need
whole
to vote
photograph
not to
there.
have fish? Pardon? Not to have fish?
I'm down with not having fish or trees, and I don't think
Yes,
Diamond Lake,
yes, no
because
trees
we
either.
haven't, we don't go to Diamond Lake.
But we will.
When? Soon, I hope. You'll tell me about it later, over drinks. Okay.
I'm drinking right now.
Yeah, you probably got the wrong stuff in there.
So, yeah, it's, 100% H2O.
Mm.
So we have talked with Proterra about everything, the whole design of the bus, all of that, and then we got presented with because it has taken us so long to get to this point, that there's this price increase that has to happen. So apparently they do it like every March, and they held out as long as they could, they held out until the beginning of April and said, we can't, we have to give you the price increase. So that also affects another transit agency that we've been working with, and that they're not happy at all. I also talked to them about the possibility of the delay of getting an appropriate place to park them. And they came up with a very interesting solution in that we could rent a parking space at the manufacturer. And I'm thinking, we're paying enough for these buses. We don't want to rent a parking space.
No.
So it's always interesting how people have their own solutions. So that's where we are with that. I have got to get Sarah's counter signature on the grant, and then I can sign the contract for the buses. We are still in line for them to be delivered January, of 2024. All right.
That's informational only, so we'll move on to general manager report. And we have a little printout.
Yeah, it was one heck of a month. So our ridership for our fixed route, if you go to that page, it's highlighted in yellow. We are just continuing to maintain. Well, we were down a little bit in February, but that was a short month and a lot of snow and stuff. But we're maintaining in that over 7,000 range, and have been for a number of months now. So I'm excited to see that. I'll be much more excited to see it in the 10,000 range, because that's really where it needs to be back to where we were pre-COVID. But that is the fixed route. And then on the next page is also broken out the Saturday services. And so March was down a little bit, but we're still continuing to grow on Saturday services as well. You see there in February, 430 rides on Saturdays. So that is continuing to increase. And Umpqua Rides is running right about the same as they were last year. We're up about 200 rides from where we were last year. Do you have any questions on the general manager's report, though? I would highlight, we got service started out to Sunshine Park. Even though we haven't got another bus to be able to change the Roseburg route so that we can run another bus that allows us to make hourly service out there. We figured we couldn't wait any longer to start that service. So we're going out there 4 times a day. And we just started that. I believe that was last week.
Last Monday.
Yeah. So
Do you have a shelter up there? or-
they do, they put in the turnaround that we requested and everything.
Okay,
Do they have a lot of people living there now?
They do. They do. And they were reaching out to us and asking. They've been asking since
that was one of the big sales
October.
points. was-
Was transit right there.
Yes, yeah, so,
There's new apartments out that way.
That's what.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I didn't know that they filled them up already,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I don't know.
I
if
know
they're
that we
all the
have a
way full,
need.
but close. Yeah,
they're not completely full.
I don't know if
I think
they're,
they're still building a few.
They are, they're still in process.
Yeah.
Last time I'm
and
building.
then the ones that are on Pomona. Out across from Les Schwab out here, those they're also continuing to build, but they've run into some issues with all of the weather.
I know our agency is trying to put together a grant proposal for Roseburg. Sarah's actually putting it together, but to extend some sidewalk and And then a multi-use path from Pomona all the way to Sunshine Park.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I'll provide some access to all of that. So I'll connect the city up with all of the stuff going on there.
if as we're do
I'd
that,
have
we
to take a
put,
car.
put the bus pullouts as well. I think when they did Pomona Street, they did a deal with.
Well, we're
City
not
of
designing
Roseburg.
anything. We're just looking for money to build something, but.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, City of Roseburg, said when the. I think it was when the 138 project and they were gonna do the sidewalk. Normally, my understanding was that they would have to, the developer would have to put the sidewalk on 138 in front of their,
Yeah, I think we're trying not to put sidewalk on 138. We're anticipating
gotcha.
it being remaining high speed after Pomona.
okay,
And low, keeping the speed limit, we anticipate the 45, the 35 will probably transition into, up into Pomona, and then the 45 will hit, you always have a transition a little bit, and then 55 again, but it'll be more in the higher speed area. So that's why we're trying to put some sidewalk up toward Pomona, or the one of the lower speed, like a regular arterial.
yeah,
And then where speed picks up, we'll move you to a separated multi-use path.
okay,
So that you can do all those movements and be a little more comfortable doing those things.
yeah. Yeah, that would be awesome. Oh,
But we're gonna define that, that's gonna get all defined in that other plan that's going on now, but the city just completed the bike ped plan, so we're just trying to. We had an opportunity to apply for money, and so we're trying to get a grant to do that, but maybe I can get a letter, actually, won't talk to you. Can you send me a letter of support for that project? I'll shoot you some information.
absolutely. There is one
Wonderful.
on here that if I don't talk to you about it now, I'll have to put it in the not on agenda items. We spoke with an NEMT brokerage. They reached out to us. They're called Safe Ride Health. And they want to contract with us. They're providing rides through Atrio. And so I explained to them that we don't have a lot of capacity at this time because we haven't received new vehicles and we don't have enough of the volunteers, and they just want to get us signed up and providing some rides so that they can demonstrate that they can do a brokerage here in Oregon. And I believe that they're looking to competitively bid against NTM for the Umpqua Health Alliance, UHA, for their NEMT rides. So I didn't want to sign a contract without asking you guys if that's something that I could sign a contract. Because it is, it could be a little, it could be a lot, so I just don't know.
You mean income?
Mhm.
How?
The NEMT brokerage rights, like our MTM rights now, that this last year, the difference between having Bay Cities as our brokerage and MTM as our brokerage, we did almost the same number of rides, but we made twice as much money.
So we want these guys to compete with MTM? It's Atrio too.
Yeah, they want us to provide rides for their clients that are through Atria. So the same type of clientele, only instead of them being Oregon Health Plan, they would be Atrio.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
I would say, yeah.
And I would say no. But that's me, and that's knowing the healthcare industry here.
well, so the good thing about it is that if we don't like the way that it works, we can opt out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what it is it's a lot of matching funds.
Mhm.
These are the funds that you can use for all the federal money, the grants that you get in, that you gotta pay
Well,
towards.
that makes more sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's just,
and it also helps pay for, could potentially pay for when you want those people that kind of fall in between transit and dial ride, those people that. need
Absolutely.
Transportation for things, and this is a way to help fund that.
okay, I'll go with it then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mike explained it as well.
All right. Any other questions on the general manager's report? Nada, all right, then we are good to go for Jennifer Boardman.
ODOT update with Jennifer Boardman.
I believe you sneezed. Allergy season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Let's see. We are working hard at trying to get all the agreements for the formula fund money ready and sent out. Our goal is to have them to the providers by the 30th of April. That would give you about a month and a half to review, get approved by the board, and send back to us in order to get them signed by Karen Criswell and back to you executed by July 1. We also are at PTAC last Monday. All of the STIF plans that were put forward were approved and are ready to move on to OTC. And OTC will approve those on May, I think it's the 11th or the 13th. And then those will be put into Optus and the plans will be ready to distribute funds after July 1. Our next solicitation is going to be a CARES funding. We have some CARES funding that's left over. CARES and ARPA, I think, COVID funding basically. And it will be for operations only, but it will be available through a competitive solicitation. And I believe there's about $1.5 million. I'm not 100% positive how much is left. I think they're working on getting us final numbers. Should have that solicitation out about May or June. Grants would be due towards the latter part of the summer. Funding would be available after October. So
What type of operations projects are eligible?
The FTA website says any operations funding that is what you would normally do for 5311 or 5310. So it's pretty broad, not as tight as it was where you just had to use it for specific items that were related to COVID, such as sanitation and equipment. So it's pretty much any kind of operations. So that'll be coming. Our solicitation after that is going to be for discretionary grants, 5304 planning grants, 5339 bus and bus facility, and I believe we'll also have 5310 capital grants that are going to be available. We are looking at doing some training this summer for drug and alcohol program managers and reasonable suspicion. One is going to be held in Salem and the other one will be held in, we'll have two trainings, 2-day trainings, I think, or a day and a half, I think. One in Salem, one in Bend, so that we have opportunity for folks to get over there. There will be scholarships that are available for that. We are not having a conference this year. I do believe I said this last month, but we are not. We are providing scholarships to some of the other local transit conferences. There is going to be a Washington State conference in August in Vancouver that we are providing scholarships for. And we just closed our recruitment on our training coordinator and our technical resource center individual, as well as our discretionary STIF manager. So we're excited to get those positions filled. Had 75 applicants, so that's the most we've had in a long time. Haven't seen how many actually pass through the minimum qualifications, but
planning on having the interviews towards the latter part of this month and hopefully have somebody on board by the end of May. So that'll be helpful to get some more training. We're also looking at do what?
I said, I feel sorry for the manager having to go through all those many applications.
Yeah, well, we have a whole group of folks that get to look through them. So yeah. And then the interviews. Whoopty. I'm just excited because we're going to get some people on board. My team will be full. Yay. Let's see. The other thing that we're looking at doing is doing some grant training this summer to help people better understand the federal grants that come out. We have Ryan Phillips, who previously was a educator, and so he had a lot of comments on our applications that came through. And so he is wanting to help us design a training that will help. And then also Drew Orr, who formerly was a transit provider and is now our STIF fund manager. He is, we had a meeting today and we were talking about some of the training opportunities that we want to try to provide this summer, similar to what we did with the summer training series last year. But trying to see what we can do to help providers ensure that they have what they need for, especially these federal grants that pop up and we give people 2 weeks to try to get the applications in. So we're hoping to get you guys some more resources so that you have opportunity to be successful at these grants. And I think that's it. Legislative session is halfway through. I think ODOT's got about, I don't know, Mike probably knows too. We have about 175, I think, bills that we're looking at right now that ODOT has some kind of interest in. So we'll see what happens with that. That's all.
Possible transportation package in 2025 in the legislature. So likely that'll probably include some transit too.
Yeah, we definitely need some more STIF funding because we have all these projects that have been put into place and costs have just gone up and up and up, as you all know, as you had to raise the wages. And the funding has stayed, you know, fairly steady. So we need to try to figure out another way to, you know, everybody thought that the STIF was going to be, you know, the great, oh, we'll have this funding and it's going to be wonderful. And it's wonderful, but it definitely costs go up. And
but as we go into a recession, remember this is employment related tax. So as people lose their jobs in a recession, it'll be likely that the STIF funds will actually go down.
Yes.
Protection of that.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's all I have. Any questions?
Thank you, Jennifer.
Yeah.
You may be excused.
Thank you, teacher.
Sorry to see you go. Okay, so we can move on to item 12, not on agenda. And Cheryl has a couple of things.
Oh, no, I got it in my report instead of not on agenda.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
okay.
the NEMT contract.
oh, okay. Snuck that right
This
in.
could be on agenda or not, but I was wondering, how can you let people know that you have low or no cost fares? I ask because I don't listen to the radio and I don't watch TV. And I really don't like going to the website.
Website.
So what else is available? Is there something you put on the buses that says, you know, because this is gonna increase our ridership. That's what our whole idea is, to get more ridership, which gives us more money.
Radio would be, I think, a good idea.
But
Radio.
We're
can't
on
hear.
the radio.
We're on the radio, we're all over.
Yeah, but I mean, it's specific to that, if you had anything
Oh,
on
yeah.
that. Or even just what fares are.
Yeah, something visual somewhere, because there are a lot of us, yeah.
Social media advertising.
There's a lot of people
We
that just
do
don't
have it
wanna
on
use the
our.
computer.
You look at it, you didn't say anything.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
on
there's
our
generations
Facebook.
that don't want to use the computer or aren't good at it, or, you know,
Yeah.
it's hard for them to find that kind of stuff, so.
Yeah. So I will look into that. I know that that has previously been my response, but there were a number of things that had kind of took precedence. So,
Well,
but yeah,
tying in with other agencies that then they could let people know to come and use their services.
If they, yeah,
Mhm.
if there are other agencies that they use, some people
Like-
don't.
Like even the food bank or something.
Yes,
Well,
well, I know that
target marketing as well.
there are a lot of places that keep our schedules at their front desk, like UCAN does and the fish pantry does. And so the cost per ride is on the schedule as well.
Urgent cares.
Yeah.
What about the Veterans Administration?
I just recently had a good conversation with the VA and they are working on a plan to be able, they wanted to know if we would contract with them to provide some rides for them. And so you know, it depends on who you're talking to over there. Some
Uh-huh.
people say, oh, our program is great, and others say there's not enough rides, that people are going without care because they can't get rides.
Mm.
And then there was another issue that they changed their processing. The driver actually has to go inside and sign them in order for them to have a procedure that would not allow them to drive home. And normally that page is just a basic, you know, yes, I'm dropping this person off and our company will be back to get them. But they've presented our drivers a couple of times now with something that is much more intense, that is like you agree to perform CPR or, you know, all kinds of stuff that our drivers really aren't trained to do. They're trained for basic first aid. They're not trained as an ambulance EMT. And so I had a
Yeah,
conversation
that's
with them
freaking
about
crazy.
that as well.
That's like where you go to get an endoscopy and they want you to have somebody spend the night and watch you. That's
Yes,
the next step.
yeah.
That's just crap.
Yeah, so I also got them a direct line to Selena, our dispatch supervisor, because she really is the miracle worker. She can have 3 phones and all of them going at once, and somebody standing in her doorway and be able to answer questions faster than the people that are looking at the screen and trying very, very hard to figure it out. So she just, it's instinctual for her. She's just amazing. So, yeah, got them in touch with her for those tough cases where they don't know where to turn. So, yeah, so the VA is another place where they could use bus schedules, definitely.
Oh, what did you read about? I know you were thinking about the old Safeway building that's a place where you go. Did you see that it was bought by Woods?
The Rite Aid, but not the old Safeway.
Well,
Just the right age.
it's kind of connected as how I read it, but maybe.
No, I thought he bought just the Rite Aid. It's Bernie bought it.
Yeah, they said that they would like to buy that
Oh,
new one, but they haven't got it yet.
Yeah,
I don't think it's official yet with Rite Aid either. He still needed to get funding.
Oh,
the way.
He was hoping to get a 90% loan.
Oh, yeah, good luck on that, but yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was way ahead of itself.
Well, I kind of wonder about someone on the Historic Resource Review Commission, and that is in the historic district.
Mhm.
It is in the historic district, but it is non-conforming, so it's got different qualifications. I wonder what's gonna happen.
rules and regulations,
Mhm.
yeah.
But we're not that part there.
No,
I don't think that would ever happen, but, you know, strange things happen.
I think it'd be an amazing place to develop as
It would,
public
yeah.
space.
Yeah.
That includes our transit center
Mhm.
and parking and EV charging and, a park for the kids to play in. And, there's just a lot that you can do with a space like that.
Right,
Mhm.
Yeah,
and it's open right now too, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
That helps a lot.
So are you saying I need to write another grant? I think we have to do a NEPA first.
Oh, God,
Yeah,
always, always.
Yeah. So, yeah, I kind of really wanted to do that one, but I need to have some of these other ones in process. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because otherwise we can have them all up in the air and lose them all.
That
because
Safeway, that Safeway property is a little scary in terms of
Yeah.
there, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
might be a little bit of asbestos in that Rite Aid building.
Mhm.
definitely. That is a definite thing.
I mean, there's a reason it's been open and available for as long as it has. It's just a mess. So it's in a very good location, and if something could be done with it, it would have been done with.
Well, it's at different elevations, that's the biggest
Mm,
problem.
yeah.
of it.
Oh,
Exactly.
Yeah,
That whole.
it's not like a full floor,
Well,
it's like a half a floor
I know.
difference, so it makes it even more unusable. The
Yeah,
the height, from Wood Street to Stephen or
Oh,
Jackson
yeah.
Street, yeah.
So I did have a question, that's kind of just a weird question because it keeps me awake at night, is getting more bus drivers.
Mhm.
And we have a lot of immigrants that are coming here, refugees, and they don't exactly come from rural areas. They come from places that have cities and bus drivers, and they need work. And I was just wondering if there was any kind of plan at the state level or the transportation agency to hire some of these people.
Only if they're legal.
Yes.
They have to be.
So, there are a lot of qualifications that they have to meet at the state level for their DMV CDL.
Okay, so there's at least an avenue for it, because I know that that these people don't come from just ranches and farms and whatever dirty places that you think. They do come from cities and they do have professional jobs, and they do need jobs, and they need to be absorbed into our civilization.
Sure.
And so that
As
was
far
just.
as the,
I was wondering.
As far
Yes,
as being able to get your CDL, there's the South Coast business. And they, if you apply for the program, you can get your CDL at no cost to them. It's through Umpqua Community College. You have to go through South Coast Business.
Billy does too.
and it isn't like I know any of these people. It's just that I do lay awake at night and think about world problems as well as our problems. And it seems like there should be a fund of some sort in each state that is taking immigrants. That
What we're
will
doing
funneling some.
on our level is we're working to develop there's a new level of training required for the CDL. You have to do the classroom training and the behind the wheel training and skills testing. We have to have all of that in place here. And then we can move them forward to a CDL tester for them to get there. This is just for somebody that already holds a CDL to be able to get their passenger endorsement.
The partnership, has
Yeah.
some programs and things that they do sometimes to try to get people with CDL licenses and stuff like that.
Yeah, because
Because
I
it's
know
not
they
just
got,
buses, truck driving and all this other.
they got a
things.
totally
Yeah.
great
they-
transportation,
yeah.
public transportation system in Mexico, and I know they do in other countries across the ocean.
Mhm.
So they have people that have the skills that are coming.
Mhm.
So that was just something that I wondered about, how we are taking advantage of that for both sides.
So at this point, we haven't had anybody apply, that meets the qualifications that you're
Mhm.
speaking to. And
Is there a program with the state that would point them this way? Because Lord knows who wants to come here.
not that I'm aware of, the programs that people are trying to develop that I am aware of are for like second chance for the folks that are coming out of prison. For them to be able to work on getting their CDL and passenger endorsement. And in like partnership with the prison. And so they actually have it before they leave. And so they have a job waiting for them at the transit agency when they leave prison, which is one of the things that prevents people from going back to crime is.
Oh,
to
yeah,
actually
having a
be able
job,
to
being
support
able
yourself.
to support yourself.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because you have to, of course, pass a criminal background check, but.
Yes.
Well, not all of them have
Part of
done
it,
it.
part of it.
Passed his legislation to help with that.
Yeah.
That helped a lot.
Yeah.
That is.
And, you know, there are certain laws, you know, you can't hire somebody that has crimes against people.
And I'm not even talking about that. I
Yeah.
wasn't even talking about prison, because prison is close to my
Yeah.
heart too. But I'm
Yeah, we
talking
just wanted to
about-
give you some more things to stay away for.
I'm just
But
thinking
she's
about
getting an opportunity for
Yeah.
more people to be able to come here and are looking for work.
Yeah.
But there's hurdles that they have to get over just to work legally
Yes.
and be able to speak English and at least
Read the streets.
read the street signs and things like that. So there is a lot of hurdles, but I don't know of any statewide kind of thing that they might
because,
have.
you know-
That might be something you can head up.
God knows.
Maybe
Well,
you
that
can
South
get
Coast
that
business
started.
thing is that's part of the government, the thing I mentioned.
Oh,
And,
yeah, is that the thing that Sarah and Jim are on?
No.
Well, I'm not totally
What's
sure.
that?
You're
I
talking about
forget
the
what,
Southwest
they used to have a
Commission.
different, yeah, they used to have a different name, I forget what it is, but I actually went to the UCC's CDL program. I didn't finish it, but they have had immigrants go through it before. So,
Yeah,
I mean, if you can just direct people to UCC, the trucking program.
well, just like I
like
know
the-
a lot of them, I just feel for them.
Maybe we need to
leave their
attach into the
country.
trucking program though, to maybe, you know,
Maybe.
as people get CDLs, they don't want to drive a truck, but
Yeah.
they'll drive a bus.
They use it, yeah.
Because sometimes you
Yeah.
want to drive local, right? You don't want to have to drive these long
Mhm.
hauls or do things.
Yeah.
And so this is.
Yeah,
a
not
way to-
everybody wants to work full-time either. They might have a family and the other person already has a job.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of where this whole
Hey,
thing is.
Cheryl?
We have a shortage of
Yes.
and that's not-
Melissa Metz is actually with South Coast Business Development. So you could definitely tap into her as a resource. She is over in Coos Bay. And I
Yes.
know that they work with the folks in Douglas County as well.
Okay. I will keep that in mind for sure. Yeah, so it's not like we're discriminating against them. I just
Oh,
haven't had the.
no,
the
I'm
opportunity.
asking if they even thought of it. If they've already thought of it, I'm not gonna call anybody and bug anybody. But if they haven't thought of it, then I can start annoying people with the phone.
The,
But I'm gathering information from the people who have the information.
the webinar that I attended, that was through the International Transportation Learning Center. It was specific to implementing and maintaining apprenticeship programs in transit.
Hmm.
So I listened to 4 different speakers, and they talked about what it took to implement an apprenticeship program, where they are, the roadblocks that they had, and I have access to all the material that they used to present. So I can go back and download that and utilize it. And so that was really interesting because an apprenticeship program is what we want to develop for here. Because if we can partner with UCC and the person that's going to manage our electric buses in particular, because that is a skill set that is not, not so many people have that, the ability to work with the high voltage electricity, then we're going to be able to grow the job market, because we age out. It took me over 10 years to learn what I know. And I'm aging out.
You're still pretty young.
I got 6 years to go and I can retire.
Oh, you love your job. You're not gonna
I
retire.
do love my job.
The key is can, not will.
Okay, so I guess
Train
I've
my
expired
replacement.
my thing. Anybody else have anything for off agenda?
No.
Not on agenda or whatever. Then we have public comment. Is there any publics? Okay, then we have agenda build. Let's take next month off.
Next
do that.
month,
We
we
have
have
to
the
do the
budget.
We could have
Next.
approved the budget.
Next month, we have the budget hearing.
Okay, put that on there.
I thought the budget meeting was this coming Monday.
It is, but
Budget hearing
the hearing to adopt it is next.
next month.
Okay,
Yeah. Everything in order.
Do we have a bunch more to put on there, Mike?
Colas?
Colas.
Oh. I was supposed to have that on this one, huh?
Oh, that's-
So that we could, I put, go,
You just budget for it, it doesn't matter, just budget for it. That's what the city does, and then, you know, COLAs always come after, and if you budget enough, if you budget it for it, then you do it, but you don't always even have to do what they budgeted for it.
yeah,
A budget is one number, but what you actually do is like this, one that.
yeah, we budgeted enough to cover. COLA. Okay,
Anybody else?
nada.
Okay. So that's it for the agenda bill? A short meeting?
Executive
Maybe.
session,
Executive session.
Yes,
this is where you just announce we're going into executive
Okay.
session, read the
Thank you.
citation and what it's for.
All right, we are going to go into executive citation session. Yeah, to conduct deliberations with persons we have designated to negotiate real property transactions.
And read the ORS,
And then it's
ORS
along
190.
just that first part?
just the piece on the agenda, the ORS.
Oh, that whole thing?
Yeah, just the ORS 192.
Okay,
660.
executive session ORS 192-662E.
Right,
Thank you, I didn't even have to put dots in.
can we retain
yes,
Christine?
Yep.
Okay. That makes that lots
That way we
easier
have
for her with the
minutes or
minutes.
something.
Yeah, she